Women have never been made to believe that they can manage finances, and the man would be amazed at where did this money come from.
How do you convince women trust on SIPs and trust on mutual funds?
In investments, yes, there is an element of risk involved. Risk comes from greed and fear.
You want to pay 100 rupees, and if you by mistake just add 1 0, it becomes 1000, and the money is gone.
If you ask me, to my mind, I don't think we should expose children to these digital payments until they're adult.
A man of the house have made investments in crores of rupees or whatever, but the family is not aware.
You know what?
What's
It's
the point?
Unclaimed number that is lying with the government of India. That is a huge amount of money.
What do you think? What kind of initiatives the government can take?
So we'll have to take a step back.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Legit Talk with Lavjeet. Financial planning is still a male-dominated domain in our country. Two-thirds of the Indian population still follows patriarchal model when it comes to investment decisions. The question which pops up in my head is, why not women? Perhaps financial literacy is one of the problems? There are situations such as sudden demise of a male running the family. The dependent family is in lurch. Women's involvement in financial planning is important. To discuss about women's financial literacy and why engagement of women is important in investment decision making, we have with us Ekta Sehgal, founder of Wealth, Motherhood Club, Kidomentoring, M-Cube, and Craft. She's doing a lot together. She has been on the finance side since 2001. However, she hung her corporate boots in 2011 and became an entrepreneur. Let's hear more from her. Hi Ekta, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lavjeet, for having me. What a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and we would like to have your wisdom and your knowledge for our viewers. So, to start with, when we were discussing about this episode, you mentioned two terms which were like really new for me, and it sounded interesting to me, which is womentoring and kidomentoring. I would like to understand more from you about these terms.
Sure.
What they signify.
Absolutely. So, very simply, if we break these words, womentoring is women and mentoring, and kidomentoring is kids and mentoring. Now, why were these two words brought into this world, if I may say so, being a mother? As a corporate person, when I started working in 2001, I entered the financial space, and it came naturally because you were learning things on the job. But as I grew into my career, and I realized that there were hardly any women, whether they were there in the leadership position or as investors. Anyhow, you're new into the job, you keep these thoughts on the side and you start working and you are managing everything. I was in Bombay until 2016, which is a long year, almost about 15 years of my career where I hung my boots, as you mentioned. And in 2016, a leading corporate, a telecom company, approached me that, why don't you conduct a financial literacy session for the women employees under the diversity and inclusion plan?
Hmm.
And, they gave me about 2 hours to conduct the session to the middle management, which was about 35 to 50 years old women.
Hmm.
I thought to myself that what is it that I can take to the table that would be something new for them? And for that, it has to be something new for me also. I sat down and I looked back all the 15 years that I worked, and I realized that I could count the number of women investors that I had in my single finger. And that was very, very alarming for me. So a question that had come to my mind in the initial years of my career suddenly kind of hit me. And all these women who were my investors, they were investors because of an situation which was an eventuality in their lifetime. A lady who lost her husband at a young age didn't have a choice but to get into the whole things of managing. In fact, at the age of 50, she went ahead to do a portfolio management course from Narsee Monjee College in Mumbai. Similarly, all the others had some or the other situation, which also led me to a question that, is it only during eventuality that women get activated in financial matters, or do they really have the potential and the ability? But the answer was loud and clear. Of course, they have the potential. After I was also part of the same industry, managing my own investments and helping other people to invest, which included men and women. So why is it that I have the ability and the others wouldn't? So I sat down and I wrote a set of questions, which to my mind were myth as to why women do not indulge in financial literacy.
But Ekta, tell me one thing. Like, so here right now we're talking about working women, right? So at times they are bound to invest because when you are at the end of the year, when you're giving your financials to the HR or to the finance department, you have to make that mandatory investments and ATC and
Right.
what all we have. So weren't these things handled by these women where you went for the first time for this literacy session?
You'll be surprised, Lavjeet, that women who are in the corporate world, even they shy away from it. And I think, as we were discussing earlier also, that what is the key reason why this doesn't happen? Uh, Fortunately or unfortunately, it lies in the whole patriarchal system that we are exposed to from years together. Even today, it's the man of the house who has the control, where he is the breadwinner. There is a huge disparity in the income that a man earns and a woman earns, even at the same level, which is, I mean, unfortunately, that's the way it is. And that is why everybody is talking about not just equality, but they're talking about equity in today's time and age.
Yeah.
Women have never been made to believe that they can manage finances, which, if I take a step back, they are always told as a child, "Aap maths nahi kar sakte." My brother is an engineer, my brother-in-law is an engineer. Both of them back then had one girl in their batch. And there are very few engineers we see, though we have a lot of well-known names who have done so much for the country, who are engineers and who are women. I mean, Mission Chandrayaan is an example very recently that we are aware of. So that thing has been so deeply ingrained that in addition to financial literacy, the very big factor that plays into women not being a part of that, which is contributing to 33%, is financial confidence. When I don't have the belief in doing something, will I be able to achieve something? No. I need to seek permission before I invest my money. If I look at my grandmother's time, or even before that, these women, they never stepped out of the household to work. They didn't have their own money. But now times have changed. But unfortunately, while there is growth in women taking lead in investments, but that percentage is very small. Out of all the clients that we handle, I think again, there would be just maybe 10 or 12 of them out of 100, if I look at a ratio, where women actually sit down for a conversation about investment, forget about even taking decisions. My own batchmates, some of them who are at senior positions, women, they would shy away from taking investment decisions. So it's quite deep rooted. What could be the reason for that? That's something I'm sure everybody wants to know. I think in addition to the patriarchal society, women have accepted that we can't do it. But the beauty is that they are so well equipped to manage finances. In fact, I would say that if men and women both come together to manage their investments, they would rock it. And they would never ever, feel that their money is not growing or their goals are not being achieving. I think it's a partnership, like in any other aspects of your married life or in general. I think it's very important that you come together to take charge of this decision also.
So, what are your initiatives when it comes to womentoring? What kind of, say, trainings or knowledge you're imparting to women, and what kind of investment suggestions do you give to them?
Okay. As a first, we break myth. That's very important. Like I said initially, even when I went to that corporate, there were myths. Myths like I don't have the knowledge. Uh, I have the money, but I can't do it because I don't have the confidence. My husband is better, or my father is better, or my brother is better. An approach that वो तो करते ही हैं. I'm already doing so much. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, I'm working. But look at it from a perspective that maybe let's go back again to our grandparents' time. Anytime a situation happened in the family where the money was needed and maybe the man of the house didn't have what was really needed, The lady of the house would go inside, bring the money and hand it over, that here, take this.
Yeah.
And the man would be amazed at where did this money come from. Now, what was the lady doing here? She was keeping some bit of the money that was given to her to run the house in a canastar, peepe mein wo rakhte the, and she brought it out for an eventuality. Now, if I have to put that as a technical term in today's parlance, that's emergency fund.
Yeah.
Right? She was saving for those days where there might be a trouble or a situation. That's one. Two, a lady who eventually becomes a mother is so well equipped to keep a tab of the milestones of a child, the growth of the child. She knows how, when, where, what. Similar things are required when it comes to money matters. A woman goes to the market to buy something. I'm going to give you very layman examples. She goes to the market to buy vegetable. How is it that she knows that tomatoes today is 60 rupees and the vendor is charging 80 rupees, so it's an unfair transaction? What has she done? She has done her research. She has negotiation skills. She's seeing the value in the product that she's buying. Now, these are some of the skills that you need when you are evaluating a financial product to invest in. So, to say that she doesn't have the understanding, that's not right. It's just that the opportunity has not been provided to her. And because that that belief is being made so strong, ki my husband is doing it, he's doing it well. But you would be surprised that in today's time and age, where we are in the 21st century, there are many households where the woman doesn't even know where the investment is being done. And there are many examples that I have seen in the last 24 years of my working, and as recent as maybe 2-3 years back, where the lady didn't know how much her husband is earning. Imagine, as basic as that. So talking about investments and everything is completely, it's like a dream for the lady to come true. Women, if they are educated when it comes to financial literacy, it is not only she who's educated, but the entire legacy will be educated. We talked about Kidomentoring, right? Kids mentoring. Now, this life skill that is needed is not a skill that is needed for 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year. It is needed lifelong, because money is something which, fine, if you look at those ads, money cannot buy you happiness, but money definitely takes you closer to achieving your goals, which eventually gives you the happiness that you want. Every child will educate, start working, and start earning, whether a job or a business. What after that?
So, Ekta, when you say kiddo mentoring, what is the appropriate age to start, guiding kids about investments and financial decisions?
Okay. So I don't have a research to substantiate what I'm going to say, but basis my own experience. And I will go back to my childhood. I was 5 when I first got pocket money by my parents. Perhaps because my brother was 9, so the advantage was there. But our parents inculcated this habit of saving and setting small goals for us. And that led to a long way. I mean, neither my brother nor did I realize that what were being taught when we were kids would come handy in our job. My brother also happens to be from the financial space. And my daughter, who's 8.5 now, she was 3.5 when I had a conversation with her. And I told her that, you have these toys, why don't you just give them away because you've outgrown them? And her immediate question was, how many of them do I need to give? So I said, okay, why don't you give away those 20 rattling toys and instead I'll, get you something. So her question was, what? I said, I'll get you 5 more toys. She thought for a second and she said, no, 20 and 5 is not good. Give me something more. So I promised her to get something else. And eventually she settled at a point where there were 2 puzzles and 5 toys as against 20 rattlers. Now, a child who's 3.5 didn't know that she was negotiating with me. She was trying to assess the value that she's giving away vis-a-vis what she's getting. And we then started to give her, coins in her piggy bank. Today, she gets her pocket money. She is also assigned some goals. And let me tell you, she's very particular about her money. She will not spend it so easily because in her head, she has understood that if I collect this money, I'll be able to buy something that I really want. So that's the next step that I would work with her, is to understand what is it that you need and what is it that you want. So I think it is important that in a very playway manner, which is the way for children to really learn, because you can't really teach them. They learn by observing, by listening. So when you start talking to them about these things, one, you take out the fear of money. Most of us are victims of either too much or too less. बेटा पैसे कम है, मत खर्चो, या जिनके पास बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं उनको पता ही नहीं होता है कि उन्हें कहाँ खर्च करना है. So I think money reads your attitude. The moment the money sees that you are being afraid of it, you're being skeptical about it, or you're worrying too much about it, it starts to worry you. And again, it's, as they say, that money reads your attitude, that reads the financial market. Eventually, that leads to you not achieving what you really want to. And then you would say that, okay, I'm not lucky, so I should not invest. And then you kind of retract from invest.
It's, I think, law of attraction.
Law of attraction, yeah. And sometimes for people, it works that, okay, they feel that if they will invest, the markets will collapse. And something or the other happens, and Murphy's Law play, and it all happens, and then they never kind of come back.
So, Ekta, coming back to womentoring, whereas, of course, as you said, that you have been guiding and coaching women, those who are working, right? What about women, those who are housewives? Are you also engaging with them? If yes, what is their mindset? What kind of financial, say, products they end up investing in?
Sure. So, the rule of the game is the same, Lavjeet. Whether it is for you, it is for a housewife or a professional woman who's working. We have done a lot of sessions, one-on-one, one-to-many, corporate sessions, Facebook Live. We've written blogs, poetries, easy to understand and comprehend. And I also run a platform which is exclusively for women by the name Motherhood Club. For almost 2-3 years, I did live sessions over there. And, one of the interesting sessions that I remember doing there was, relating it to kitty party. A lot of women who are homemakers, that's what I understand, and with no offense meant to those who get involved in that, they, in order to keep themselves socially engaged, they would have these kitty parties where they would put a decent amount of money every month and then come together, and whoever gets the chit gets the money. So we spoke about a modern kitty party, that if you have the money, which you do, because that's where your kitty party money is going, why don't you put that money in a manner that it also gets you more than what you have contributed? Because in a kitty party, fine, you enjoy, you have fun, but it's the amount that you have contributed is what you get back. There is no incremental that you get.
Yeah.
So why not put the same amount into something more meaningful and take it when you need it?
Like what? Which kind of
Yeah.
investment?
So in this case, a kitty party contribution could be related to a systematic investment plan. Because there also, on a stipulated date, you're putting a fixed amount of money.
Yeah.
When you invest that, you will get returns. Now, the question could be from a homemaker is that I don't understand it.
Correct.
So our approach is of a mentoring approach. We would sit them down, talk to them, make them understand in the way they would understand. So let's say if you and I are having a conversation, I would try and make you understand a concept related to your profession, because then you would be able to associate with it. Since I also work with kids, for me, putting a context to an understanding is very important, because if I don't have a context to why and what, my learning is incomplete. So that contextual learning, it becomes very important. So with women also, we make them understand that why is it that you need to do it. You are already doing it. You just need to take one step ahead to be able to make more out of it. Women view money as security. It becomes very difficult for them to part ways from it. Whereas for men, money is success.
But I mean, as you said, that you recommend SIPs. Now, SIPs being equity linked, and in our country, every equity linked product has its own fear. It's not just men versus women. I think I don't have the numbers, but if we still see the investments on the equity side, whether through SIPs, through mutual funds, or direct equity, of course, it has grown in the recent past, but it's still not there. So how do you convince women to trust on SIPs and trust on mutual funds? And are you able to convince them?
Okay. If you're walking on the road, what is the guarantee that you would not fall?
Completely, yeah.
There is no guarantee, right?
Yeah.
When you talk to an investor, again, irrespective of a man or a woman, when you try and put a meaning to the whole thing, that yes, there is an element of risk involved, one. Two, investment is not always equity. You can do a systematic investment even in a debt fund.
Yeah.
You can do a systematic investment even in a fixed return product. The good old product like an RD is also a systematic investment, right?
Yeah.
That is one. Two, you also try and make them understand that when you are investing, the financial market, and here I will specifically talk about the equity market is almost 46 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. It started at 100 and today it's close to about 83,000, 84,000. It hasn't been a straight line. And if it is a straight line, you're finished.
Yeah.
So it has been through its ups and downs. Besides all odds, it has reached where it is today. That is one. Two, in the beginning, I said that there are very few role models in the financial space. When I was working, in fact, before I started to work, there was only one lady who I could look up to in the financial space, Miss Nana Lal Kidwai, who was with Morgan Stanley at that point in time when I was doing my internship with them. And I would always wonder that how come I only see her name? Now there are more names that have come in. Coming back to the point that risk comes from greed and fear. We want a lot, but we don't want to risk it. So when you explain them the risk that is involved, when you make them understand that it is not कि आपका सारा पैसा डूब जाएगा. You book a loss only when you book a loss. Till that time, it is notional. So when you explain these concepts, you show them the data that is there. You show them not just the good days, you also show them times when the markets have fallen down. For example, all the scams that have happened or the fall and rise of the IT industry. COVID, very recently, markets had fallen down by almost 50%. But where we are today, we are much more at a higher level than what we were when we had fallen during COVID times.
In fact, like you rightly said, recently also after this war situation, we have seen market collapse, and the problem is people really get scared when the market is at a downside. Actually, it's a time to invest,
Absolutely.
but it happens vice versa.
That is because the behavioral finance plays a
Yeah.
lot.
Yes, and secondly, when the market is going up, people want to stay back. कि नहीं market बहुत तेज हो गया, and it's not same in the real estate.
Yes.
In the real estate, when the market is going up, the investors are pumping more money. Now it's happening the same thing is happening on the stock side and equity side as well. But the trend is changing very slowly. So, so yeah, I mean, I think a shift is required from just real estate to, this side, because this will also help women. Because women at times, say housewives, they have small, corpus to invest, and they can't straight away go and, buy a real estate, which is going into crores of rupees these days, because you hardly get anything in lakhs these days.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to such investments, you can even start with few thousands.
Very true. In fact, very recently, there has been a mini SIP kind of thing which has been introduced for first-time investors, which is not even in thousand, it's just 250 rupees. I think it was just yesterday or day before that it has been approved. So anybody and everybody can actually invest. And talking about that greed and fear and those behaviors of buying when the market is peaking and getting out when it is falling, well, we are, who are we when Sir Isaac Newton could not save himself from this? And if you read about it, he also got caught in this whole greed and fear. And we as humans are a victim of our legacy.
Yeah.
What we see in our growing years becomes a part of our life, and we fear all those things that we are exposed to. And that is why I feel that Kidomentoring or financial literacy for children in schools is an absolute must. It's a skill which is needed in order to get away from all the biases that one has. And you name a bias that exists that plays havoc in your life when it comes to money matters, be it your cognitive illusion, where you feel that your investment can never go wrong. बाकी का हो सकता है. Or I don't get money, I never make money, but you always make money. And you also spoke about real estate. Very interestingly, it is the north part of the country which is real estate heavy. But when you go to Maharashtra, Mumbai and all those places, people have houses. Of course, they invest in real estate, but they are a lot into the liquid assets because they've realized that if you need money, you cannot go and just knock off a real estate, and you will never do it. I remember having a client in Delhi who had 3 houses and all of them were not on rent. So it was actually a dead asset, not yielding anything. Also, if you see, I think a lot of people have this misconception that they actually make a lot of money in real estate. But if you look at the data, and we did this analysis where we, showed an equal investment in the stock of that company and a property of that company. I mean, there is just no comparison. So it becomes absolutely imperative for everybody to understand that when you make an investment, that's also part of your understanding of financial literacy, which unfortunately is very poor in our country. It's just 27% for men and about 24% in women.
27% and 24%.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the last data that is available in the public domain. And real estate market is progressing. Well, we all know the reason. There are a lot of other factors, like just the returns. I mean, I don't think I want to get into that. But something which is so opaque, something where there is no rationality, nobody knows when that bubble will burst. And we all know about it. I mean, we both stay in Noida. We know how the prices have ramped up. But in investments, what people need to understand is it is never this or that. It is always this and that. You need to have a balanced portfolio so that whenever you need the funds, you are not disturbing something. So there is a concept of a core portfolio and a satellite portfolio. And you will never knock off a washroom for your child's education. You can't do that. So you need liquid assets. So it's not just the returns, but it is also the availability of funds when you need them, achievement of goal, and the transparency that the financial product offers to you. I don't think real estate offers that. Rules are definitely bettering over the years, but I think there is still a long way to go.
Yeah. So, okay, when it comes to Kidomentoring, now we are living in a digital world where Paytm and it's ruled by Paytms and UPIs and things like that. So, what is your view? At what stage education to kids of these, digital payments and all it should be introduced? Because see, this is something like if you're making a payment, you want to pay 100 rupees, and if you by mistake just add 1 0, it becomes 1,000, and the money is gone. And there's a very bleak probability that the balance will come back to you.
Absolutely. If you ask me, to my mind, I don't think we should expose children to these digital payments until they are adults. Because they are at a very impressionable and a very, very influential age. Must you give them? You need to give them with limitations. That there cannot be a payment beyond this amount. Let there be not excess money in the bank account that they are operating with. Today's age, we all open bank accounts for our minors. Keep only that much that is needed. But as I said, until 18, I would not want to give access to either a digital medium or even a credit card, given that these credit cards are Wi-Fi enabled, unless and until it is under supervision, because there'll be OTPs that will come to you.
Yeah.
That OTP then should come to the parent and not to the child's phone, which is very common in today's time and age. So yeah, they need to be adults to get that access.
Yeah. So Ekta, I'm sure with your programs, you might have seen a lot of increase in interest from women. So if we see tentatively, how many female investors do you have as of today? I mean, when you started, I'm sure you started with a very small number. So how has it grown over the years?
Actual women investors, I would say that there'll be an increase of about 25%. But if I talk about trophy investors in that, maybe then the number would be about 35%. And by trophy investors mean that the investment is in the name of the lady, but the decision is being taken by the man of the house.
Okay.
And we have very consciously made this effort with our clients that please have your spouse, I mean wife in this case, with you when we are having these conversations, so that women can say no to financial infidelity. a lot of people, I remember when I first spoke about financial infidelity, said that, marriage and infidelity, of course, we know, but what is financial infidelity? So financial infidelity is when the man of the house does not discuss anything with the lady. A family who doesn't discuss their goals, who doesn't plan it together, the possibility of achieving those goals will be very, very difficult. As it is, the goal achievement percentage worldwide is about just 8%. It further reduces because then there is, there is no connect, there is no motivation. The lady wants something else, the man of the house wants something else, the children are thinking something else. So when a family doesn't come together to think about it in a very cohesive manner, how will you be able to achieve the larger goal? After all, the child's education responsibility is both of the father and the mother. You have to retire, need a lifestyle to live. So all those goals, until and unless they come together and families discuss it, doesn't happen. I remember Lavjeet having a case where the gentleman had lost his job and the family didn't know about it. All expenses were being met the way they were. Credit card bills were piling up. And they had reached to a point where he had no choice but to break down because it went into lakhs and they didn't have the money. So whatever they had, either they could eat, take care of the school education, or pay off the bills. That's when the lady of the house took a stand and said, no, we will first knock it off and then think about anything else. So I think it's very, very important. And I, in most of my sessions, keep telling women, please say no to financial infidelity. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. That is one. Second, women have now started to outshine, right? They are stepping out of the house. They are wearing multiple hats. But still, somewhere, she doesn't have the power to take a decision for herself. Should she be in a marriage which is not a happy marriage? And why cannot she not do that? Because she has no financial stability. On Facebook, there are so many anonymous posts that one reads that I'm in a abusive marriage, but I'm not working, or I was working, I've quit my job for my child. I have no financial stability. I have no income. I don't know what to do. The power is taken away from you if you do not have that financial power with you. Hence, I think for a woman to be empowered, she needs to have that financial independence, that financial confidence, and manage it the way she wishes to.
I completely agree. And in fact, I completely agree with your financial infidelity part as well, because the reason is as you rightly mentioned earlier in our discussion, that there are scenarios when a man a man of the house have made investments, say, in crores of rupees or whatever, have insurances, term plans, etc., etc. But the family is not aware. Now, say if God forbid, if anything, happens with the man, in spite of having so much of investments or insurances, you know, the family is still in a bad shape because they don't know.
Do you know what is
What's
the
the point?
unclaimed number?
Yeah.
The last number that I read about, 83,000 crore that is lying with the government of India. That is a huge amount of money.
And ultimately, who's benefiting with that money?
Absolutely. So you have it, but yet you don't have it.
Yeah.
That is where I said the power lies there. And it's very important for both men and women to realize that how important and critical this skill is for themselves and for the generations to come. So please, I would, through your show, I would request everyone that please talk to your children, make them, empower them from today itself. It's a skill which is going to stay with them forever, and they will thank you, in addition to all the other things that we do as parents. But I think it's very, very important.
I think there are repeatedly many examples. We have seen COVID, we have seen loss of lives. People, I don't know up to what extent people have learned from that. I'm sure there has been increase in awareness after that. Recently, we have seen, say, airplane crash, say one person of the family is gone. So if the other person is not aware of the whereabouts, then there's no point. So in spite of being so many reminders given to us I would say by the nature or whatever we call it. If we are still not learning it, then we are at a losing end.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so Ekta, what about your other ventures? As you know, you have, in addition to Kidomentoring and Womentoring, you are involved in other ventures as well. Would like to briefly understand about them as well.
Sure. So as I mentioned in our conversation earlier, that I run a platform by the name Motherhood Club, which was started in 2019 with an intent to express gratitude towards mothers. And the seed of that was sown by my late father, who was an army officer, who always told us that the mother is the fulcrum of the house, and what she does for you, nobody else does that. So we started hosting mothers to bring out their journey, gave them a platform to voice their thoughts as to how they have raised their children, who are the future of today, and also gave them that platform to showcase their talent, uh, rekindle the love for all those things, all the hobbies and passion that they had. So we have a lot of poets, story writers, poetry writers, artists who keep sharing their work. They can promote their business also. And under that initiative, we also did some social drives where we work on 3 pillars, which is health, wealth, and happiness.
Okay.
And we've taken the SDG goal number 4, which is quality education, menstrual hygiene, and cancer awareness. So these are the 3 areas that we have extensively worked, distributed sanitary napkins, menstrual cups, helped some cancer patients. We have about close to uh, about 45 children whose education has been sponsored. So we've raised funds, and there are people who are, are aware that who are these children who are being sponsored. They're all based in Noida. And so these are some of the initiatives that Motherhood Club does. And I think thanks to that, I also started to write my poetries and stories. And I have about close to 15 poetry anthologies and 3 story anthologies to my credit.
Wow, that's nice. And the kind of initiatives that you have taken, I would say they are really commendable. Yeah. So that's a very good work, I would say, and please keep it up. And okay, so for the financial literacy, particularly of women, especially in the rural areas, what do you think? What kind of initiatives government can take? Because of course, in the urban areas and tier 1, tier 2 cities, still we can say to an extent this literacy level is high, but it's not trickling down to the rural India. So what can be done in your view to improve this literacy there?
So we'll have to take a step back. We'll have to first improve the literacy level.
Hmm.
Uh, uh,
The overall literacy level.
Overall literacy level. The reason that we started the menstrual hygiene awareness was that also kind of gets connected to the financial literacy aspect and the overall literacy also. For a girl to stay back home every 5 days in a month because she's not comfortable leads to her missing school. And that is more when it comes to the rural area and all the musties and everything that we see around us. In the condition that they are, जब तक उनको बेसिक ही नहीं पता है, आप उनको फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी के बारे में आप क्या बताएंगे? So I think it is very important that first the government needs to take initiative to enhance that literacy, which they are working about right to education, but that needs to be implemented at the grassroots level. That facility, that safety, that even today, forget them, even we don't feel very safe walking out on the streets at night. So until unless all those things are taken care, I think financial literacy is very far away from that. There are a lot of programs that are being run by the government. I remember there was a company who was planning to do an end-to-end solution, but I haven't really seen something which is being implemented till now. And uh, the reason, again, quality education and menstrual hygiene was one of the major reasons why we took up on these aspects under Motherhood Club, so that eventually I could also bring in financial literacy for these ladies. Even if it means 500 rupees for them to invest, why not? I remember Lavji doing a session for the neighborhood parents in one of the schools, leading schools in Noida. And most of the mothers were not educated. And their only issue was this only कि मैम हमें तो बेसिक्स ही नहीं आते हैं, तो हम बाकी चीज़ें कैसे करेंगे? तो I think वो बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हम पहले बेसिक्स पे काम करें and then we get to all these things.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I think whoever is listening to this show, especially women, please, the humble request is from Ekta and from the show that please Start getting involved in the financial decisions. Please start learning the investments, how you can invest. Maybe you can start with, as Ekta said, that now we have an option of say 250 rupees a month, which is not a big amount for anyone, either a housewife, either any women in the rural India or wherever. So it's not that difficult to do. The only thing which has to be done is take a step, take a step into it.
Absolutely.
And so, Ekta, I would like to end with as you also mentioned about poetry. I would like to hear something from you which you have recently written.
Sure.
And yeah, and after.
So I would like to read something which is, related to my profession.
And I'm sure it will be linked to financial literacy
Yes,
as well.
because in addition to blogs, I also use poetry to communicate what I want to. So, and it also talks about financial infidelity. So, allow me.
Yes.
Educate, empower, enlighten yourself. For you are the change we all wish. Say no to financial infidelity. Bring in that agility. After all, you are the twilight of every house. You always shine so bright. You, the women of today, are the torchbearer. Break the ceiling, jump up high. Perhaps the sky is pink while you wink. Choose to challenge the inevitable, for your spirit is indomitable. It's not about victory or failure. It's not about victory or failure. It's about the effort you make, for your effort is what will inspire victory for many and more. Thank you.
That's very interesting, and I hope this is heard by the women and they implement this. The implementation is very important.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ekta. Thank you for empowering women more. And I wish you all the best. You please keep on continuing this job because it's really important for the nation building, for the development of our country. Thank you very much for this conversation, and thank you to our viewers for watching this episode. I'm sure you will like this episode. Please subscribe to our channel for such more conversations. If you have any comments, please write in the comment box below or reach out to us at legittalkwithlavjeet@gmail.com. Thank you.